The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
We are back.
Hi, everyone.
A's baseball, past, present, and future. I'm Ralph Tyko with the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, and half of the team is here. Jerry Feitelberg, present and accounted for. Nancy Finley on her way.
I'm here now.
Jerry on vacation. And tell us where you are, Jerry, and let's talk a little A's baseball.
Jerry, you're on vacation.
I am up now.
Oh, he's always on vacation. Nancy Finley has joined us. How are you, Nancy?
Nancy, I'm at my home in Mendocino at the moment.
You have a place in Mendocino? Oh, nice.
Oh yes. I've had it for 17 years. And it is about 60 wonderful, cool degrees here. Yesterday, driving up, when we got to Boonville, it was 101 degrees. And then when we got to the coast, about an hour later, it was 60 degrees. Just a little foggy at the moment. But we're here for the Mendocino Music Festival. We've been coming up here for years. And tomorrow night we're going. Yeah, have you been up here? Tomorrow night is opera night.
Well, Morgan took me there. Only time I ever saw that was a couple of times when Morgan took me. We stayed at a Russian, let me see, there was a bed and breakfast in Gualala, I think.
Gualala, yeah, down the coast.
Russian? Have you seen that place to stay along 101?
No.
Ruskies Are Us, I think it's called.
Ruskies Are Us.
And then, but Morgan has some bizarre stories about Mendocino I can't repeat from when he was in the hospital. But he took me up there, and there was a road closing right before we got there, and he was going to have me stay at a place where they filmed a movie called Same Time Next Year.
Oh yeah, that's Heritage House.
Yeah, great.
Okay,
movie.
thank you. Yes, and so there was a road
Alan
closing.
Alda was in that, if I'm not mistaken. And a very, very attractive...
Ellen Bernstein, was that it?
Ellen Burstyn.
Okay. And
she looked good in her day, and I don't look good in my day.
Is that Mendocino, Jerry, where we were?
That's Little River.
It's really
Little
close.
River. Yeah, it's right next to Mendocino.
Oh, okay, because there was a road closing. Morgan thought that was unusual, and then we walked in the town, around the town of Mendocino, and then that night we were awakened by a 6.2 earthquake. And but you know what? I remember thinking, I was just irritated. I thought, gosh, that's strong, but I want to get some sleep, and because I felt really safe. And I didn't know about tsunamis really at that time. We were right there on the water, and then the next day we're thinking, oh, this must have made the papers. Well, it turns out a 7 had hit before we got up there, which is what the road closure was about. And when we were walking through town, no one said a word. People are really calm up there.
Well, in 2000,
or uninformed.
I believe in 2011, when they had the earthquake in Japan at the Fukushima nuclear plant, and the tsunami headed east we were here at that time, and I had to have some repair work done, and I didn't think it was going to be a big deal. But Fort Bragg got the harbor got racked by the tsunami.
Down the
we're near Castro Beach, and they closed it, and the repairman had to go back and drive all the way around, about another 4 miles 2 miles to get to the alternate route to come back. So, but he got here without any problem. But we didn't have any problems. If you recall, Santa Cruz got banged around too during that tsunami.
Amazing. I heard that in the I heard this after. I was curious. During the Alaskan earthquake, 11 people died in Crescent City from the tsunami.
Yes. That was 1964.
Wow. And so apparently we were feeling the aftershocks. I thought it was the big one. and it would be in all the papers. I had no idea the big one happened before we got there because you wouldn't have known it.
Well, the big earthquake on the news today is that the A's beat the Astros again. They took 3 out of 4 from them.
Today?
And if it wasn't for, they won 6-4.
Oh, I thought of you during this whole run, and yes,
if it weren't
I thought
for
of
that
you.
Bizarro play.
I wondered
what about
you were
that play on Tuesday? Oh yeah,
wow.
Tuesday night that play where I had never seen anything like it.
Yes.
And they were leading 5-4, and normally they win those games. And they had Trinan in, and it just everything unraveled. And that play at the end was one for the ages.
Oh God! Oh, don't.
Hey, before I ask you, Jerry, what do you attribute this real turnaround, and especially these last couple of weeks have been just fantastic. I want to say that Simeon, the shortstop, has really progressed over the course of the season, and he's a much better ball player than he was. All-around ball player, hitting, fielding, keeps his head in the game more. Give him a lot of kudos because I didn't think they'd go very far because your team is only as strong as its weakest link. And I thought Simeon was a weak link, and he's turned that around. The only real weak links you can find as for position players, the way I look at it, is the hitting of the left fielder and the center fielders.
Kana's been playing well. He's hitting over 260. He's got 11 homers. And
I know
one of the factors has been the outstanding play of Stephen Piscotty.
Oh,
he
definitely
really
in
brought
right
his
field. No
average up.
problem with that. He, as a matter of fact, I picked him up off the scrap heap on my fantasy league team, and I think he's going to have a great second half. Joyce isn't a hitter, and when you say 260, that's what we've always aspired towards mediocrity in those positions. 260 isn't really all that much. He's not that fast.
No, but with the shift, with the guys doing the shift, these guys probably would be hitting 280, which might be a better.
Well, then let him break the shift by hitting inside out and hit 280, and that would eliminate a lot of the shift if players could adjust. And as Willie Keeler said way before I was born, you remember him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
He said, hit them where they ain't.
Hit them where they ain't. But he also played in the dead ball era where you had thicker bats and a ball that didn't go very far. So it wasn't.
That's true.
It was a different game.
That's true, but the same applies. And I think the more players adjust to the shift by simply hitting the other way.
Not so easy when it's coming.
Not all the time, but break it up.
You got guys now. We used to think that if someone threw 95, he was a stud. Now they're throwing 98, 99, 100. And there's not just one player. There's lots of them. These guys are coming in faster, and you will have just a split second to deal with a 100-mile-an-hour pitch. It's not that easy.
And a major league player can do that if he knows it's coming. So if a pitcher doesn't have an off pitch, he can throw 100, and if you know it's coming, you got no chance. So it's only the pitchers who have 2, sometimes 3 pitches that can command them and get them in the strike zone that are successful. There's a lot of pitchers that throw 95, 96, and they just never find the strike zone consistently, or their pitch doesn't move. And if you know it's coming and it has no movement on it, you got a good chance as a batter But
that
if
fine
you
balance
have a 90
right now.
mile an hour splitter or whatever, then you have a good chance of being a Cy Young Award winner someday.
Oh yeah, I think the A's had a player a few years ago. I think his name's Todd Van Poppel. Does that sound about right?
I've heard.
Yes, he was one of the four aces that, and I'm blanking on the other guys. Dressendorfer was a guy who was one of those four aces, and two others.
Rich Harden, maybe.
No, that Harden was years later, but I'll think of them.
But anyway, he could throw it, but his pitch had no movement on it. It was straight.
Right.
Just straight. And I have a friend of mine who went to Cornell, and he tried out for the Yankees, and he could really throw the ball. It had a lot of speed, and the Yankees said, "We're very sorry. We're not gonna sign you." And he said, "Why?" He said, "I got a good fastball." He says, "Yeah, your ball's got a lot of speed, but it doesn't move. It's straight, and they can hit it." And that's what the young guys have to deal with. So they're throwing splitters, they're throwing cutters, they're throwing slurves, sliders, curves, all these things, and they're ruining their arms. They're ending up getting Tommy John surgery, but they're doing the best they can. If you watch yesterday's game, McCullers, over 60% of his pitches are not fastballs. Only about 20% are fastballs. They're all either off speed or curves. And he had this is the fourth time he faced the A's this year. He was 3-0 against them this year, and he had an earned run average under 2. I think it was a $1.89, and he just dominated them. But the A's figured him out, and they took it to them last night. It was great.
Hey, and how about Cahill today going an entire 6 innings without going on the disabled list?
Yeah, he didn't make it out of the 5th inning. He went 4 2/3.
Oh, okay.
And then they brought in Chris Hatcher, and then Hatcher gave up the home run to Tony Kemp. So, but anyway, I think it was 4 2/3. No, he only went 3 2/3. 3 2/3. But he was just coming off the DL. He may have had a pitch count that they wanted to keep him to around 60, 70 pitches. So that may have been why they took him out. I would not bank the A's future on either Brett Anderson or Trevor Cahill, although Anderson pitched well the last time out.
But let's give some kudos to Austin Jackson, who is a career Major League journeyman pitcher.
No, it's not Austin. It's Edwin Jackson.
Edwin. There's an Austin Jackson in my head, son.
Yeah, Austin just got traded by the Giants to somebody. To the Rangers, I think.
Okay. Did he get traded for Darno? He might have.
He got traded for a player to be named later, or cash.
Got a story based on that. You know who the first player to be named later was? That was himself. It was Harry Cheedy. Got traded from the Cubs, and for a player to be named later, and the Mets sent him back as that player to be named later. So, I don't know where
baseball
history.
history.
In the back of my mind, but if you're a Met fan, bad things are in the back of your mind. It's not easy.
What's happening with your Mets? They're getting hurt all over the place. The injury jinx is on that team.
I keep reading that.
Yeah, it really is not worth talking about on an A's show that has to be positive.
Okay,
because,
well, A's are...
What are we, 12 games above 500 at this moment?
Well, Morgan's excited about the Giants.
Yeah, 12.
This weekend.
Morgan's a Giant fan, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I still have an apology. I'm an apologist, not a real fan anymore. But those Giants were the New York Giants at one time. And I was a kid when they left New York to come to San Francisco. And it wasn't fun being a kid.
Wow, so they're still New York to you.
Everything is still New York to me, Nancy.
Oh.
That's the problem.
I can understand how that works. I know with us in Kansas City.
Yeah. Well, I just want to tell you and anybody out there listening that a New York state of mind is something that's a mixed blessing. Just want you to know that. We are strange people, and a lot of our thought processes never leave us. No matter where you go in the country, you bring New York with you, and you bring the attitude you grew up with you as well. So you spend a lifetime recovering.
I want to say something to both of you. We all three take a drive, because I did this last weekend, to Dennis Miguel's house. He has one of the biggest A shrines I've ever seen.
Oh.
Dave
Will he
Cabal
let us in?
Oh, yeah. Dave Cabal went out there. He heard about it, and he put some pictures up on his Twitter. And it's all A's. It goes back to Kansas City up to now. It's amazing. Some of the pennants I saw, I told Dennis, I'm going to look into these, because one is a 68, and it has a picture of our elephant.
Really?
Yes, and I know my parents were divorced then, but we were in our big Charlie O phase then. And
I know. How did that come about? Because the Philadelphia A's had the elephant as a mascot.
Yeah.
And Charlie took it on himself to bring
do you know how they got the elephant to be their mascot?
Wasn't that a white elephant or something?
John McCraw said when Connie Mack started the A's, he had purchased a white elephant.
Mm-hmm.
This was in 1901.
Great. Nancy got it right. That's 20 points down. You didn't put it in question form, Nancy.
What?
But you get half credit, and Don Pardo has lovely parting gifts.
Yes, well, we had
white elephant. It was, and that was years ago. So, what came about? How? And for those listening, Nancy is Charlie's niece, in essence, and Carl Finley's daughter, and really knows what's going on. You were back in the day. How did the mule come to be?
We had a petting zoo, which was larger than you'd expect. We had monkeys, llamas, peacocks, and so the governor gave us a mule, because I guess that was popular in Kansas City. So to go to our petting zoo. And so that was the idea, why not have a new mascot? So that's how it happened, because I heard the family talking about what a new mascot should be, and I heard a white stallion mentioned, and then when you hear it's changed to a mule, it's not as glamorous, but that's how it happened, and it was like the baby of the family. I have photos of that mule where Charlie hand wrote on the back what it's doing and where it is, like you would children's pictures.
Oh, wow.
So that shows you, that's why I say that was the Charlie O face.
It's like a son to Charlie.
Yes, and I noticed, though, that when I came out here, no one was asked to get on the mule, whereas in Kansas City, people were asked, he would say, would you like to sit on my ASS? And he liked saying that. And it was a big thing. That mule went everywhere. Out here, I heard that it slipped on the floor of Francesco's restaurant. And that happened. We didn't take it anywhere. We took it places when we were in the World Series, but we stopped taking it places. So I saw a big shift in how we were out here, except I think Dad started worrying about liability, and he didn't think that the new stable could control the mule, because that wouldn't have happened under the people in Kansas City. But
right.
I see pictures, and I see the man running the stable back there, and he has this very serious look on his face at all times. And I can tell he's trying to make sure that mule doesn't spook while Charlie's on it, that it doesn't trip. He's working hard.
I always ask my brother, because she's probably been going a long time, if Aunt Sonia is still playing tennis, and she probably isn't. But is the mule alive along those same lines? I'm assuming the mule has been gone for years.
The mule died in December '76 up at the stable. I'll never forget it because.
Oh, wow.
It was about 25 years old, but it.
Now, how much is that in human years? Is that an old for a mule? Because Sonia was like 80.
I hear horses live to be between 25 and 30, depending on the big ones. Don't live as long. Our mule was.
You would think, but Sonia was a big one, and
really, these little horses live longer. They're meaner.
Yeah,
too.
and
they're mean.
So in equivalent, it would be about 80. You say. Or did I say so?
30 would be 80, maybe more. But
okay.
Charlie was starting.
So live a good, and I'm sure if when the mule looked back in later years, it had great memories. 3 in a row, 5 divisions in a row. That's
an air-conditioned trailer. Oh yes. People
right.
were always.
Now we're in the season, guys. And I want your opinions on whether the age should be buyers or sellers as the trade deadline nears. What do you think?
They should be neither.
That's All-Star. That's All-Star, right? Around the All-Star.
No, the trade deadline's the 31st of July.
So it's around.
So it's in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks.
Do they?
I think they should be neither.
Yeah. Do they have to do anything? Can't
they? They don't have much to give up. They don't have money. Okay, but they have good young talent that you don't want to give away, and you really can't afford to give away Lucroy, the catcher, and Lowry, the infielder. There's no way in the world that I can see that helping a good young developing team who need an anchor, even though they're, if they did get to the wild card, it would be a nice miracle. But you don't give up anything for that hope at this point.
Let them get
now, what about this? What about this? I've been hearing rumors that Blake Trinan might be gone, and that Billy might be trying to get a starting pitcher. There are some people out there they might want to get for the stretch run because Trevino has come on so strongly. And
you're going to give away the best closer you've had in years for a starting pitcher that pitches once every 5 days, and pitching is the hardest thing to project. It's from day to day, week to week, blisters, arm soreness, this, that, and the other thing. You got a guy who's in a rhythm and a team that's in a rhythm. No. If you don't have to give up somebody and you take a contract off somebody's hands and let them pay a good deal of it, then I can see that and give up draft choice or whatever down the road. I don't know how that works anymore. But no, don't give up your leaders, your position players. I thought they made a horrible mistake by giving Sonny Gray away, notwithstanding his record, and that could be changed because he had a good outing recently, I think the other night. Sonny.
No, he didn't have a good outing. He better have a strong constitution because they're ripping him apart in the New York press.
Didn't he have a good outing last night or the night before?
No, not that I'm aware of. Yeah,
well,
he's having problems.
Wouldn't it be something if they got him back? Some guys can't play in New York.
He can't pitch in Yankee Stadium. He can't pitch in Yankee Stadium. He's having problems, and that's tough
what I
part.
mean. So wouldn't it be something if the A's got him back?
Oh yeah,
I'll tell you what. You can have Fowler. Fowler is not a hitter.
Dustin
He's
Fowler.
He's a great fielder, and he's fast as hell, but he just doesn't step it up and seize the moment. He was in a position coming for a guy like Sonny Gray. He and Becerra need to seize the moment because
I thought he was adequate. He's got speed. He can steal a base. His average again is around 260. It's not great, but not terrible.
When you got a guy that you're counting on at the top of the order hitting 260.
The only player they got hitting in the 290s is Jed Lowry. No one else is hitting above 270 in that team, and yet they're winning.
And as with most teams, the game is changing. They put more emphasis on the home run and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I realize that. But I'm one that hates to see him break it up for future guys.
Well, too often.
Who was it that told me the other day that it was Michael Duca in a conversation about the future. Prospects are no more than suspects. Till they get
absolutely. It's a crapshoot. It's a total crapshoot when you trade for prospects. You just never know.
Right. So, and again, there are those that believe in building a team from the back end of a bullpen forward.
Well, you need to let the players get to know each other and start to be like a family, too.
And that's true. Absolutely. You can't say enough about camaraderie. Yeah. You can't say enough about how trading Duffy to Tampa hurt the Giants clubhouse. It wasn't evident. You couldn't see it on the field, but it did transcend to lack of wins. How about that? And they didn't get the pitcher they got for him was horrible. But
Matt Moore, I think
you take guys out of the clubhouse that are part of the family. Speak to that, if you will, Nancy. The family that the A's had back in the day.
Mm-hmm. We, as you know, we did trade, but we didn't do it to a certain degree, like I see it now. And more teams do more than others, but we hung on to players like Hunter, Bando, even Green, and then we brought on Jackson, Blue, North. We kept them together as much as possible. Then there was an exception like Duncan, and then Fosse switched, but we had the main.
Hey, I never asked you about Super Jew Mike Epstein. Did you know him?
I never heard him called that. I just knew him from social occasions. Dad introduced me to a lot of people, his daughter, and I usually couldn't wait to go off with people around my age. But but see, the players didn't fight outwardly around us during those times.
Well,
but
you're talking about the A's? A's players didn't fight?
Well, I mean, so during social occasions in the
locker
room was different, Locker room was different. And you could sometimes tell when they were still angry at each other, but then it was like they were angry at each other, but someone else better not come along and say something.
Right. It's like brothers.
Or
It's like brothers.
Yeah. They'll jump on. They'll all jump on.
Yeah, the next door neighbor tries to break it up, and the next door neighbor gets beat up.
Yeah, Morgan said it's like attorneys handling family law, domestic problems. Don't get involved. So
that must be fun.
but yeah, with Epstein, just our guys, they just were able to look at each other and know. They sometimes they could do away with those codes, those signals. They knew each other so well.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's what's happening with this club too. These guys, they've got a ton of confidence now. They know that they don't have to be the man when they go up there. They can be relaxed because they know that Olsen knows that if he's not going to hit, maybe Chapman will, or Piscotty, or Chris Davis, or whoever else in there. Kanik is hitting. They're all hitting home runs, and so they know that they can go be up there nice and easy, and they know that they can score runs late in the game against anybody, and that's how this team is winning. And they have a good clubhouse, a good camaraderie between the players, and when you have that, you're going to have a nice situation.
That's important because you don't want to feel like you can't get close to someone because he's going to be out, soon.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, you got moody guys that have been in the clubhouse. They've been called cancers in the clubhouse. Remember back in 2006, the A's had Milton Bradley. And years ago, the Angels had a guy that really had some problems. His name was Alex Johnson. Won a batting title, but no one wanted to keep him on the team. Even Danny Valencia he's bounced around for about half a dozen teams. He's just not a good teammate. And so that happens. And, you hope things work out when you get a player who comes with a reputation and he sees how nice things are going for him. But you never know. You never know when they make a trade.
That brings up the age-old question that we will debate from here to eternity. Does winning bring camaraderie, or does camaraderie bring winning? And these good clubhouse chemistry, it always helps to be winning.
Sometimes it sneaks up on them, and they have the camaraderie, and then all of a sudden they may not have been thinking about it, but they think we're winning now.
Yeah.
And then it helps progress it.
Winning clears up a lot of illnesses on a club. No question about it.
Yes.
It's no
Okay,
question.
now before we go, I want to ask Jerry, is Mingden about to come back, or is he going to be out for a while?
No, what I'm hearing, he's about ready. Probably be back after the All-Star break. He'll be back, and the reason they sent Frankie Montas down to Nashville was they didn't want him to miss a turn, because the way it broke, Manaea is going to pitch on Sunday, and then they don't play again until Friday, and Manaea can go back and start pitch on Friday when they resume against San Francisco. So Manaea will pitch on Sunday against San Francisco, and then Friday against San Francisco when the A's host the Giants. But in the meantime, Montas would be sitting and not pitching, and they wanted him to continue in his rotation. He's doing so well this year. He's been a pleasant surprise. And you would want them, if I were managing the club, I would want him to pitch every fifth day rather than a Trevor Cahill or a Brett Anderson, and see what he could do, because he's 25 years old. He's got his game going together, and he looks like he's the future. And Cahill and Anderson are just stopgap measures to get through the season with some arms maybe and get a game or two out of them.
Well, with all the injuries that are going on, you understand why these guys keep being rehashed and rehashed, because it's simply a lack of guys to pitch innings. And I don't blame the A's, but it would be nice if they stay healthy for a bit of time. That's all.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. The position players have been pretty good. You know, Piscotti got hit last night. I think the fourth or fifth
I saw
inning.
that.
He got hit on, and fortunately it was just a contusion, and he played today. So, you know, it wasn't too bad. But boy, a lot of times when that happens, you get a fractured wrist, you're gone for 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, no question.
So
a lot of these guys,
out.
like, I remember Sandoval getting these hammets, the hammet bone in the wrist.
Yep. Yep. He had 2 of
As
them.
a pharmacist, Jerry, if I came into you one day and I said my hammet bone is just aching at me, what would you prescribe?
Oh, I'd give you morphine.
Oh, please! Thank God I found you, Jerry. Is the license still good? Okay.
Oh, I need to see that game. I need to
see that license. All right, guys. Be well and stay out of hospice. And we'll be back next week. Same time, same place. I'm going to do the same. Although we're all day to day.
Have fun in Mendocino, Jerry.
Oh, I really envy you. I'm in Alameda. You envy me, don't you?
Yes, you're on your own island.
Alameda's great. Got the best weather in the Bay Area.
Yes.
Absolutely. Best weather in the country, as a matter of fact.
And
if you average it out day by day.
Iowa.
Well,
say hi to Iowa.
Have you been naughty, Jerry?
Not yet. Later.
Oh, okay, because I hear her in the background, and I thought. But then.
I'll have Morgan give you his stories off the air sometime.
Well, no, we'll do it on the air. That'll make it fun. Bring them on. This is podcast radio. We could talk about anything.
Yeah,
you have any Chuck Tanner stories you want to tell?
No, these are that's for my
next
edition. No, but these are Morgan's stories when he drove up the coast in law school.
Okay.
Oh, so well, maybe those are best for off the air.
Yes.
So on Friday, Morgan is going to be in San Francisco rooting for the orange and black, and you're going to be
on Friday. The rabbi slept late.
I'm going to be watching it on TV. So I don't have
who wants to fight 40,000 people in San Francisco?
And I'm torn over there. I have friends on both sides, so.
Yeah, who wants to? Well, I don't know. What are they getting for parking over there? $50 for the game, something like that?
Oh no, we barred it if we go.
Hey, I'm not generally one who complains about the prices at these venues because I stay home and watch it on TV or listen on the radio. I'm no dope. But they reported earlier in the week that the Giants were selling craft beer, for $19.95 for a big cup of beer.
Okay.
You're kidding. $20 for.
That's not champagne. That's beer.
No, that's beer.
Oh.
And
what a world!
It is not brought to you by a woman named Bubbles.
Oh.
So, like in the old days, $20 you understood, but this is craziness. And it's they get what they.
Do they own the concessions?
Do the Giants own the concessions?
Yeah.
I'm sure they're in on. Yeah.
We didn't.
I don't know how big a price, but you can bet your booty that they're in on the profits.
Wow.
No
before we go, Nancy, explain to the fans how the concessions work at a ballpark. They rent the space, or you get commissions on what they sell.
It depends on the structure. We did not own ours. They actually leased it from the Coliseum, and then we would get a percentage of the sales. Now, now the team owns it under their corporate umbrella.
Okay, good. But they still can hire a contractor. I think to do it.
Yeah, because actually I think it's a separate LLC or,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's owned by the same corporation. The A's is under that. So this now is associated with the team. So I don't know what their structure is with the lease. That might all come out the same.
Well, I know that Dave Cabell wanted to improve the food at the ballpark. That's why he brought in the food trucks last year.
Yes.
But still, the stadium still needs upgrades in the food. And maybe we'll get there in the new stadium. I think the Giants food is superior. Yeah, the Giants food is superior. For the fans.
I'd like to get it to the point where people come out to the ballpark, not just for the ambiance, which is nice and needed and part of it, but where the main concentration is what's between the lines.
What would you like to see?
The stadium in Oakland, when you're sitting there for a few minutes and the game is going on, you're not thinking about, what a dump this is and the plumbing and the fact that they had the enclosure in center field when the Raiders moved back, Al Davis's monstrosity. You're watching the game, and there's something about when first pitch is thrown, you're into the baseball game. I wish more people were, because nowadays it's become almost corporate. And,
I know.
Yeah, in many regards. What the difference between the Giants situation is that there's little or no tailgating before the game.
You're right. I didn't think of that.
And the A's have that big parking lot with lots of tailgating going on, and that makes a huge difference in the amount of revenues that they get at the ballpark.
Of course.
That very good point. Very good point. People come in, they have to eat.
Someone should write a book on the history of tailgating and the future. I don't know. I've never thought of that, Jerry. That's really a good point.
There was a book written in the 80s about tailgating at different stadiums. I don't know if it was football primarily. I think it was.
I've never been to one. I've been invited to them, but I've never been.
Right.
Well, that the Raiders, as long as they're here in Oakland, will have tailgating. But the 49ers have a very limited section for tailgating down at Levi Stadium. The fans are forced into buying food at Levi's.
I can't imagine.
I didn't know that either. I'm sure that's by design.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
My God, now I'm going to be thinking about that. Tailgating is really a part of the game, and I'm wondering if a lot of it's not able to happen because of the new parking with stadiums.
Right. Well, I can tell you when I cover a Stanford game, Stanford got so much room for parking, and you go through there, and I'm not smart, so I don't wear any red T-shirts, so people don't think I'm a Stanford grad. But because they feed the media at Stanford for free, which is really neat. But but for the fans, it's a huge thing. All the old grads get together and they have a great time. There's a camaraderie going on. And we used to tailgate at the 49er games. It's great. It's really nice. And but the A's, if they have a new ballpark, and again, we don't know if they're going to have parking at Howard Terminal or wherever. Certainly, if they go back to the Coliseum, one of the things, if they had to give up the parking lot, they would still have people coming by BART or Muni could get, or AC Transit, I think, they could set up routes to get to the ballpark, and they could set up places around the ballpark before you go in to have something to eat, or inside the ballpark.
Tailgating now, that's a good selling point, though. You can
tailgate. Saves the people some money.
Tailgate while you can, yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really.
Hey, thank you guys. It was a great show. I really enjoy your company.
I always learn
We'll
something.
do it again next week if
Thank
the creek
you.
don't rise. And Nancy, say umbrella for me once. How you say it?
Umbrella.
It's so cute and southern.
Umbrella.
You say umbrella.
Umbrella. Do I say it right? Now.
Umbrella.
Umbrella.
Morgan says I say temperature wrong.
Oh. Well, how would you say insurance?
I say temperature.
How would you say insurance?
Insurance.
Insurance.
Now, my relatives say Concord. Umbrella.
Okay. Well, I hear that nice Southern charm accent once in a while. Sneaks out. And Jerry has a nice, charming Southern accent, too. That doesn't sneak out very often.
Really?
Yeah, I hung out in
Southern part of Boston.
You got it, South Boston.
Say 8. Say the number 8.
Kelly, clams at Kelly's Shack on City Point Beach when I was a kid. How's that? South Boston.
Oh, you Southern boy.
Yeah. Southern indeed. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you.
All right.
If you're listening and enjoy our offerings, any of them on the network, do me a solid. Box up some new and/or slightly, gently used children's books. Bring them to the Head Start program wherever you are, and I can assure you on some level you'll make a difference. Kids need to read. They need to be school ready. They need to develop imaginations, and they need to get their noses out of the devices and the computers. And giving them books will not hurt. These are kids that, by definition, need a head start. So please do me that, and that would be great. Be well, everybody. We'll be back next week. The show is A's Baseball, past, present, future. I'm Ralph Tyko, Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. The host was Jerry Feitelberg. The hostess, Nancy Finley. Adios, everybody.
Okay. Bye, Ralph.